XRP Timeline update. We just got the biggest news that we've been waiting 4 years for. The SEC is no longer pursuing its case against Ripple. Now, in this morning's video, I explained why the XRP pump, the victory pump, as I called it, failed or stopped after going up to about $2.60. So if you missed that video, make sure you guys go back and watch that one. I dropped that one this morning. It was titled XRP Victory Pump Fail, and I explained why the rally up to 260 stopped. Essentially, our order books got filled up with sell orders, and the pumps that we get off these big news events are really never sustaining pumps. I mean, look at the post that Trump put out saying that XRP was going to be included in our U.S. crypto reserves. We pumped 80 cents in the matter of a few hours. XRP added 40 billion to its market cap in the blink of an eye, but then we came back down the next day on the news of tariffs. And that's why for this XRP timeline update, I'm going to make this video very quick for you guys. I got my notes here, but I'm going to start with the macro calendar events and then tie it back into the XRP lawsuit. And it's interesting to see the convergence of the two. So got my dry cleaner reminder note here, and I got my dates written on the back of this. So let's get started. We saw the pump after the news that we just got. We're already halfway through March, and we just have a lot of uncertainty, just like Powell mentioned in his press conference yesterday. So it's really just going to be uncertainty until we get to Liberation Day, which brings me to my first date for you guys to watch out for. April 2nd, Liberation Day, as President Trump is calling it. This is when the tariffs are going to be going live for Canada, Mexico, and it sounds like everybody else. We're just going to take it reciprocal. Whatever you're charging us, we're going to charge you, and it's game on. Liberation Day, April 2nd. So it's going to be uncertainty and choppy until that day. When that goes live, we finally get to see, how that's going to play out, and we'll get a little bit more certainty from there. And maybe we'll see the market do one more flash crash right around that date. That would make a lot of sense. So the first date to watch out for is April 2nd, Liberation Day. After that, the next week, around April 8th or 9th, I just asked Grok, when are we going to get the FOMC meeting minutes? Now, this would be the FOMC meeting that just took place yesterday and the day before. And what the Fed does is they produce the minutes of the meeting for everybody to see about 3 weeks after the meeting takes place. So we know yesterday the Fed is not raising rates, but what was the signal I was telling everybody to watch out for? That they are going to slow down their reduction of their balance sheet. And the terminology that they used was a much nicer way of saying we're ending QT, essentially. We're ending quantitative tightening. And to give you the simple rundown of what this is the Fed's balance sheet, all of the bonds and even the commercial debt that they got exposure to, real estate debt after 2020, they changed what the Fed could actually invest in. And so they're not just backing it up with, treasury bills and treasury bonds. They actually can get into corporate bonds. They can get into real estate. They can get into a lot more. And that backstop that the Fed provided, basically their balance sheet went all the way up to 9 trillion after 2020. And it's now reduced down below 7 trillion. But that was the reduction. That was the QT, quantitative tightening, them offloading those assets. And what was the problem that I said when they said that they were going to start this process? I said, nobody wants to buy this crap. Now, I was wrong in a sense because people actually do want to go into bonds and they want to go into short-term T-bills, just like Warren Buffett, 300 billion of T-bills on his balance sheet. Why? Because nobody wants to go out long duration, but everybody wants out of the stock market. So the stock market, the mega caps have topped out, and we're about to see a rotation probably into the small caps, and we're going to see the breadth expand in the stock market. And this perfectly coincides with the Fed flipping the switch, reducing QT. Are they turning back on that money printer just quite yet? No, but it's the signal. Perception is reality. And so the market, it took the news yesterday as very bullish. We were back down a little bit today, and I haven't checked the markets because I was running around. I just got my hair cut, and then I went to the dry cleaners. So I don't know where we're trading at right now. But the next big one to watch for, because we got that confirmation yesterday that QT is coming to an end. That's bullish for markets, bad for America, but that's a whole nother issue. So the next date to watch out for is going to be around the 8th or the 9th of April. That's when we would get the FOMC meeting minutes, and we'll get further confirmation and more details on how they're going to be reducing the amount of quantitative tightening, right? So that's the next date to watch for. First one, April 2nd, Liberation Day. Second one is going to be April 8th or 9th. That's what Grok told me. We'll see what the official date is. About 3 weeks after the meeting is when they release the minutes. Watch for that closely. This brings us to our next date, which is an XRP date. That is April 16th, the day that Ripple requested to be able to file their appeal brief. The SEC filed their appeal brief 5 days before Gary Gensler got fired, before George Tenriro. He signed off on it before he got demoted down to the IT department. And I put out a tweet yesterday. I said, has anybody checked on Gary Gensler lately? And I wanted to add to that too. Has anybody gotten an update from George Tenriro in the IT department? How's that going for him down there? Okay. Boy, do I love seeing this, how this is playing out here. So back to the point though, they filed this appeal brief 5 days before Trump takes over and Gary Gensler gets fired. Market comes down by 15 billion, add it to the damages. But the point being, fast forward to where we're at just yesterday, we get the historical update, March 19th, 2025. You'll remember this day for a while. The SEC is no longer going to be pursuing this case against Ripple. The case is over, according to Brad Garlinghouse. All we're waiting for is the official commission vote. Then the SEC can say, yep, we have withdrew our appeal. This is over and done with. But Brad, he was on Bloomberg yesterday, and he said very pointedly, we're going to consider our options here for the for our appeal. We might continue this forward. We have $125 million on the table. Do we want to try to get that back? Under this current administration and this current SEC, this case would have never happened. We would be in a completely different reality with this current administration and this current SEC. This never would have happened. Ripple would have already gone public. Link2 would have already gone public. The valuation would be in the hundreds of dollars per share, probably for Ripple. And XRP already probably would have gone up to $7 to $10. But we know where we're at right now, and that's why I'm providing this update on the XRP timeline right now. So watch for April 16th, because we will get a signal before then. Maybe the market flushes out at the beginning of April around Liberation Day, tariffs going live. But then do we start to recover and get bullish when we get the FOMC meeting minutes and we start to see, yeah, well, the Fed is looking like they want to reduce their NQT. It's time to get bullish. And then the week after that is when we get the SEC versus Ripple update. Is Ripple going to pursue the appeal, or are we going to get some sort of settlement? You see why this timeline gets so interesting here is this brings us right up into the next few weeks here where a settlement opportunity is prime. This is it. And people have been saying up all the way until yesterday, people would tell me this case was never going to end. This case was going to go on forever. The case wasn't going to end this year. How wrong they were. They should have listened to Stuart Alvarado just like we did. I didn't know. I didn't have any insider information, but I always listen to Brad, the executives at Ripple, in particular Stuart Alvarado, the chief legal officer. And what did he say? The case is over. Don't pay attention. It's all noise. At this point going forward, it's all noise. This case is over. That tells me that back then when Stu made those comments, they knew this was about to get settled up. Between now and April 16th, that's when Ripple will file their appeal brief. Are we going to get that appeal brief, or are we going to get a settlement beforehand? Now, the final date to watch out for here is going to be May 6th and 7th. That's the next FOMC meeting. That's the next time the Fed gets together, and we'll get an interest rate decision, I believe, on May 7th. So this matches up perfectly with the alt season rally that I've been talking about from March, April, and the possibility of it dragging into May obviously is there too. But could this be the interest rate decision in May? Can this be the first rate cut that we get under President Trump? Jerome Powell has been sticking it out, being tough, being real tough and holding out here. President Trump responded yesterday saying that that the Fed should have cut rates yesterday because we're coming up into April 2nd, Liberation Day. But that to me was a signal, Trump saying, hey, we're going to have more volatility. Might get shaken up a little bit here. And so the Fed should have been preemptive in cutting rates, but they didn't. So you look at what's going to happen between now and May. It looks prime for XRP and other utility assets to go on a rally. And I was watching BC Backers update here today, and he was explaining once again, guys, the rest of the market, not so strong, but the setup and structure on XRP remains intact. It's about to go into its fifth wave. I recommend if you guys need an update on the TA, go watch BC Backer's video today. Spot on. Great perspective too. He gets it. He knows everybody wants the moon bag and the moon talk. Well, we have to understand where we're at and what it's going to take for us to move to these next levels. You want $5 XRP? We need to get a lot of people in here that want to buy XRP at $5. That's what it's going to, I mean, this is really very simple. It's just, we're not there yet. And so what I'm looking at right now on this timeline, volatility downside till April 2nd or right around that day. Bottom out, start to reverse by April 8th, 9th, leading up into April 16th when we'll get a response from Ripple or potentially a settlement for Ripple. So it's like not only is the macro matching up here with XRP, but that reiterates the point that I've been making that XRP is actually going to lead this rally. And you saw the news yesterday. Upon the SEC news coming out yesterday, the XRP case news, the entire cryptocurrency space popped up and added $100 billion. That's XRP being in control of the narrative. That's XRP being in control of this bull run. You are perfectly positioned in XRP. But the rundown, April 2nd, Liberation Day, volatility downside till then. Watch out, be careful. This is why we stay liquid. Fed meeting minutes, April 8th, 9th. Get more of a bullish signal and end of quantitative tightening. That's the signal that we need. Perception is reality. April 16th, watch out for that Ripple settlement. Maybe they say, hey, we're fine to pay $125 million worth of XRP to the Treasury. We'd love to do that because we're American patriots. Should we ever have had to pay this fine? No. But are we going to do so for America? You betcha. Mr. President, we're glad that you created the crypto strategic stockpile. Here's $125 million worth of XRP, which depending on where XRP is trading at that moment, I don't know how much that'll be, but you get my point. And then finally, when do we get the Fed rate cut? Their forecast is only for 50 basis points of rate cuts this year. So that's only reducing rates maybe twice by 25 basis points. That's probably what they want to do. They would probably less likely to do a full 50 basis. And there's no possibility of them dropping the rates much lower than that unless something absolutely catastrophic happens, like a 2020 crash. You think of a big one. The big one literally has to go off for the Fed to bring rates down below this basically 4%, 4 to 4.25% effective Fed funding rate. Okay, so that would be the final signal, and coincides with what we could see. This alt season. XRP, 6, 7, upwards of $10. The rest of your favorite altcoins, be ready because they're going to move as well. And this might be the last little rally that we have here for a bit before the United States, really gets into a recession. The stock market still remains overvalued. That rotation into small caps, once again, that breadth expanding. This is what we want to see. We are perfectly positioned for this time right now. A lot of people distracted by today's price. They have no idea what game they're in right now. They're just focused on that price, that chart, that 15-minute chart, that 5-minute chart, watching the little candles. Zoom out. Take a deep breath. Go touch some grass. You know what I'm saying? Get outside and breathe some fresh air. The traditional financial space would be just ecstatic to see the types of moves that we've seen in our utility crypto so far and what is to come. I mean, the traditional space is happy to get 20% returns in a year. We do it in a day, and it's not enough. That's what we got. And everybody has to understand, for years and years and years, we would get the best news about Ripple XRP, price would go down. Did the price go down? No. We still finished the day green. And depending on how we end up today, we might finish this day green too. Maybe we do come down a little bit, but we're still above where we were at the day before. If this was back in the day, we would be lower than where we were when the news hit. This is how it's been in the XRP community for years. You guys know what I'm talking about. Great news, Ripple XRP, price comes down. Did price go down yesterday? No, but it only pumped 12%. And we're not at $5 yet. Well, if you need the explanation and the breakdown, go watch this morning's video. Really appreciate all you guys' support. I'm going to be back here live tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern for a further breakdown, full market update with Q&A. All of our community resources are available at zachrector.com, and you guys know how to help me out on the way out. God bless you all.